Good? You got me? Yeah. There we go. There you go. You look good, Turner. Sexy man.
Live from Sud's Tavern on the Sud Sports Network.
The Bronco Alumni Show coming at ya in 3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Here we go.
Hi, we're here at Sud's Tavern, located on Broadway, right outside the stadium here in Boise, Idaho. It's a big day here in Boise as the Boise State Broncos are going to host the Mountain West Championship against Fresno State at Albertson Stadium on the Blue today. Kind of an electric atmosphere around here. Are you going or what? What are we doing? You talking?
I'm just tuning you up, man.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you sound better. That's all.
All right. Are we good?
Yeah, you're
All
good.
right,
Just keep going.
Okay, we're live here for the Bronco Game Day podcast, or whatever it is we're calling it these days. We're going to take a look at the Fresno State BSU matchup. This is their fourth time meeting, I believe, in almost a year, which is almost unheard of in college football. They played late last year. They played in the Mountain West Championship last year, which Boise State won. And they played earlier this year on the Blue. Boise State coming out on top 24-17, which gives them the right to host the Mountain West Championship today. So some exciting stuff going on in the little town of Boise today. We'll be taking a little bit of a preview. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in the Memphis game. No one really cares. Yeah, they do. Well, these two teams met just a few short weeks ago, Jason. Right here on the Blue, the Boise State Broncos pulling away late, 24-17, to seal the victory and set up the Mountain West Championship here instead of Fresno. Very helpful.
Yes.
So,
that was a very good game. Well played by both sides.
that's what you got. That's what you got. Looking forward to. Why don't we recap last week? Oh, here we go. Memphis is running away.
Oh man.
Is that 20? That's 21. All right. 20-7. Memphis. Like I said, a lot of Memphis fans here in Boise today. If Memphis can knock off number 8 UCF, they might tumble down the rankings, allowing the winner of the Mountain West game today to maybe slip into a Fiesta Bowl as a 2-loss Mountain West team. Would that be unprecedented?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, any other Fiesta Bowl team from Boise State was undefeated or one loss, maybe.
Yeah, I'd have to think that.
I know they've been in 3.
A two-loss Mountain West team. Maybe they're getting a little bit more respect these days, or a little bit of luck, a little bit of both. But Boise State's definitely a national product, so I can see where they might want to move them in there if they get a chance.
They are definitely getting a little more help from their conference opponents this season. That's for sure.
That's true. That's the Mountain West, I think, is the strongest it's ever been that I can remember. There's 3 different teams that have been ranked this year, and I think previously there was only 2. Although somebody can look that up and call me out on it, but I'm going by my memory. I'm going to stand by that one. So this is a lot. This is the last game for this senior class, led by Brett Rippon. Gosh, they've played. I mean, it's unprecedented, Jason, to play a team 4 times. Yeah.
4 times in about a 380 day
yeah,
span,
I believe
I think,
so.
something like that.
It looks like November 25th, and you go today's December 1st. So yeah, 1 year and 6 days, 4 times. It's like, I don't know. It's like youth football, I guess. We don't have enough teams.
Think of how tired they are of playing each other at this point.
Oh, I know these teams know each other very well. So
Actually, I would say that they're probably more excited to play each other. When you hate a team, you want to see them as many times as you can.
That's true.
Especially if you got the L. Especially if you lost.
The Fresno State comes in here with something to prove, as they the last time they won was at home. It looks like Fresno State, and they don't do a lot of winning on the Blue. I believe they've only won 1 time here in Boise. So
Fresno location. Boise, Idaho, Fresno State, 84.
1984. Got to go all the way back to
Oh.
to when the King of Pop used to reign the land. Yeah, kind of a funny little rivalry here. They played in 77, 84, and 96. Maybe were they dating then just to see if it was going to work out? And then in 01, they go on a run here of playing, I think, 13 or 14 straight years in a row. I know in 15 and 16 they didn't play each other, but they've certainly made up for that, huh?
Yeah, Fresno was a WAC team, early WAC team, I think, from the start. and I think Boise State was still in the Big Sky, or even most likely 1AA still, I think. And then, back when they were playing in 77, I guess we should bring up that conference affiliations for Boise State in 77, 84, and 96. The 3 years that they met.
I know this off the top of my head.
Ooh,
I
someone's
do.
been doing their research.
That's true. They were, I believe, they were a one. Were they a junior? I know they were 1AA when they met in 1996, and I believe before that they were maybe a Division II school, Division III. So I mean, this goes way back to the roots of Boise State when they were in their infant phases of conference before they had shot up the conference, I guess, power in the last 20 years, certainly. Ever since
I would say they're just barely staying in the, I don't know. From what I see, we were in the Big West, which was not a stellar conference.
That's true.
And then, after that, we went and entered into the WAC, but that was like the same year that the Big West was eliminated.
Yeah,
and
so that was more of a lateral
We're
move.
always jumping into a kind of a, the WAC and the Mountain West are comparable. I'd say the Mountain West is better, obviously, with Air Force and Colorado State.
You do bring up a good point there, though. They've moved conferences twice, and not really by choice. More of the other conference is now no longer available.
Yeah.
So,
and the only thing I can say other than that is probably thank God that we didn't end up in the ACC. Oh gosh.
That would have been a rough travel schedule, the logistics involved, let alone.
It would have bankrupted the team.
It's quite possible to go back.
You think ticket sales are expensive now? You think that stadium and all those improvements they've been doing around campus would be possible if they had to pay? What do you think the scaling factor is on the travel budget?
Well, yeah, to be able to have to fly across the country, 6 times a year? I mean, it's certainly, I know.
100, like 200 plus people.
Yeah, and there's
between players and staff.
Several driving locations in the Mountain West. So, yeah, I would imagine that affects the team's budget quite a lot getting into a division like that. And I think
the environment, John.
the almighty environment. I think it was more the school budget that played into their decision not to go into the. What were they in the ACC for, about 12 minutes?
Yeah, it was not very long.
They're like, tag, no backsies.
The accountants were like, no.
This is not going to work out. So I think maybe I'm speculating wildly here, but ESPN might have had something to say about that. Like, whoa, you stay out west so you can be on late here. We don't want you coming here for a 1 o'clock game on the East Coast. Yeah, content, got to fill it up. So. What else we got here?
This game's looking pretty sweet for BSU.
I know, this is a real, the good people down in Memphis are doing a real solid for the BSU fans, but it is early in the game. Looks like it's still in the first quarter, so let's not,
Wow.
Let's not get too excited. But of course, UCF, I can't remember the kid's name, but a horrible injury last week with the knee. So you got to really feel for that team. They had a pretty good squad this year, and it looks like that's the way, I don't know, a little bit of luck, I guess, you need to get into the Fiesta Bowl. So, but a tough break for the UCF team. They had a pretty good team there this year.
Man, they are going after it.
Yeah, Memphis is getting after it.
So,
a lot of Memphis fans here today. It's very biggest turnout I've ever seen in Boise for a Memphis game. So, all right, what else we got here?
We got BSU Fresno Mountain West Championship game, number 2.
Number 2, the sequel. That's right. They did play in 2014, I believe. Boise State. That might have been the year. I've looked into some history. This Boise State actually on a technicality, because they were ranked higher, even though they lost to Fresno State and their records were tied that year. They got to host it in 2014, and I believe that incident, as known to the Fresno State fans, changed some of the rules for how they determine a conference champion. I think they moved head-to-head up. So if you have the same record and you've won head-to-head, you deserve to host it. But I believe Boise State got away with the one there in 2014 just by being ranked higher. So their national prominence helped them out there a little.
There you go.
And how did they get to that national prominence?
Well, that's a long story. I would say the first big one in the modern era was that 01 game against the ranked Fresno State. Brings it right back around full circle.
That's correct. Who did Fresno? Was that the year Fresno? I'm thinking off the top of my head, but Fresno knocked someone off. I want to say like Florida State. Someone big that year, Miami. They went in and knocked them off in the beginning of the year, and they were ready to roll that year. I'll look it up because that's what I should do.
Yeah, they had killed a couple of big teams and were just on a roll. I remember they had the elder Carr brother.
Ah, yes, former number 1 pick with no line.
That poor guy.
But I believe, another Memphis touchdown. A lot of it slamming here in Boise.
Very exciting.
Just doing the Boise State fans a solid there. Thank you, Memphis. Oh, wait. Uh-oh, we got some problems.
Oh, yeah. And
Oh,
my
boy.
cord all wrapped up, all jacked up. Man, this is harder than it looks.
Yes, it is. All right. I'm almost to looking up something. It's a lot harder to do and talk than you ever thought it would be, but that's fine. Oh yeah, that was that the year Boise State beat them? Yeah, they came out of the gates, the hair on fire there. Colorado, Oregon State, Wisconsin, win. And Fresno State was on its way. That was back when everybody thought Fresno State was going to be the team to jump into a power conference.
What was Wisconsin ranked at the time they played?
Looks like they were 23rd, and
Yeah.
they knocked off the week before Oregon State at number 10. So
Yeah, they were legit that year.
that's pretty exciting. Yeah, they got up to as high as number 8 in the rankings, and then for some reason they dropped down to number 18. It's weird because October 19th, 01, they're ranked 8th. The next week they're ranked 18th. You would have thought they lost. What happened?
Boise State happened? That's what happened.
That's right. Boise State did happen. A lot of people think that is the game. That single game right there is the game you can trace back to the rise of Boise State. They go on ESPN in one of their first nationally televised games. It was a big deal back then. I believe it was a Friday night. And they go in and knock off the number 8 team in the nation. And I think that's when people started to notice, who are those guys?
I'm pretty sure it was most definitely like the first time Boise State was ever in a game where they were like the only team playing that day, like a Thursday night or a Friday night.
Oh, like the
game.
Spotlight game of the week
Yeah,
type deal. Yeah,
exactly.
it was a Friday night. Yeah, so everybody's getting.
Huge. Everyone was watching. Yeah, everyone just got out of film.
Yep.
It was on late because it was on the West Coast, and it was getting ready to go play the next morning and get some sleep, and that game was on, and everybody watched it.
All the good little football players were in bed Friday night.
And then everybody knew who Ryan Dinwiddie was after that.
That is correct.
Potential guests today. We have on the docket Ryan Dinwiddie, Billy Wingfield, and latecomer, old-timer. Ooh, is old-timer a bad word?
Probably.
Probably a legend is probably the way to say it. Legend.
There you go.
Dan Lukart. Legendary D-tackle Dan Lukart.
If he's gracious enough to join us.
If he should so choose to do so.
Maybe.
We're just posted up here for the Fresno State BSU State.
BSU Fresno State Mountain West Championship game.
There you have it, sir, for the Boise State Fresno State Mountain West Championship game.
That's right. We're
Correctly.
live here at Suds, right across the street from the stadium. We're just trying to scoop up ex-BSU stars here.
Long history of, a lot of good games. Long history of games between
long
Fresno.
history, but not a lot of. I mean, you had the 3-point game I think last year in the Mountain West Championship, but other than that, I mean these 7-point games. I mean at the very least. So as many times as these teams have played each other, and as much as they know each other, it's kind of surprising that there haven't been more tight games. You know, in a rivalry of kind of like where you play each other almost every year. And
Well, 41-40 in 2013 in Fresno. That was a tight one.
would Fresno pull that off? That might be the only.
Yeah, that's their win. That's their win in that
their
decade.
Were they? I think they were Mountain West champions that year. Was that the inaugural year? Yeah, I believe it was, of the Mountain West Championship. Yeah, Fresno State 2013. Yeah, they're your Mountain West champions. That's actually their only championship. They've been in the game now. This will be their 4th Mountain West championship game. They're 1-2, with this one tonight yet to be determined.
Back when I was playing, there wasn't a Mountain West championship. We were still competing for the WAC championship.
Did they have back when you played? Did they have a championship game?
No, they did not. There was just the conference schedule. We played everybody in conference.
It was just play everybody once.
Yes, but
every
we
other
were,
year?
you know, in my playing years were 02 and 03. We played one in Boise and one in Fresno and won both of them.
Oh, so you're going to take credit for those?
By a significant margin. Yeah, it was. I mean, they weren't even really close. Although, for some reason, it felt like the biggest game of the year.
Well, you bring in a Notre Dame recruit and you throw him on the line, and you can really push around Fresno. I can tell you
there
that
you
much.
go. Yeah. They were definitely aware of my presence on the field. That's for sure.
Would you describe? I think that was when Fresno was putting a lot of guys into the NFL, as I recall. I mean, they had a lot of draft picks off those early years, those giant killers that used to go out. I just find it ironic. They used to go out and kill these ranked teams, and then Boise State just took them down and ran with it. And Fresno's really not recovered, I don't think.
Well, the Pat Hill era was, I mean, they were known for their motto of play anywhere, anytime. Play anybody, anywhere, anytime.
I do remember him screaming that on ESPN when ESPN was still in everybody's house.
And they did. There was that team, that 01 team that won against Wisconsin.
Knocked off Oregon State. Yeah,
Wisconsin,
got all the way up to number 8 in the nation until they ran into the little engine that could here. It's the little blue engine that could. So that would probably be their Boise State's first takedown on national television. So, I mean.
It was the highest ranked opponent we'd ever played ever, but it still wasn't like, it was still a WAC team. It wasn't like a ranked.
Yeah, you're not in the what's
Big
now known
10.
as the traditional Power 5.
Yeah. Although that conference was rocking that night in 01. It was crazy. I remember getting so much beer thrown on us on the way out after that.
Oh, well, so pleasant. So
Tortillas
tell us a little about how pleasant the
before.
people are. You've visited Fresno. How pleasant are they down there? They're friendly folk?
Fresno people are very big football fans. I will give them that. And they do support their team.
Their team colors?
Yes.
Yay.
And that valley.
Fresno does take a lot of pride.
Valley. And it's very prideful in their agricultural. Fumble in the end zone. Touchdown.
Fumble. Ooh. Not yet, Boise State, Fresno State. Not yet. All right. The UCF isn't dead yet. Might hold on to that 8th spot.
Mm-hmm. Well, John, what do you think? You can carry this while I go make another round, see if we can get someone on the show or what?
I mean, you can get anybody you want on this show. That's fine. Can't you pause it? I mean, you can do that.
Yeah.
Ready?
We're going to take a break real quick.
All right. I'll fill it up until then. We'll be back in a few short minutes. Thank you very much for listening.
I'd like me a splash of whiskey to wash the trail dust off in my gullet and keep my singing voice in fit.
This is the Bronco Alumni Show on the Sut Sports Network.
Okay.
Ryan Dinwiddie, everybody.
Are you recording?
Yes,
All right.
we are live.
I'll put the headphones on?
Yeah.
On or off? All right.
And there you go, boss.
Can you check? Sound good? You
Good?
can just
Got
talk,
me?
You can just,
Yeah.
yeah
How are
good.
you?
All right,
You good?
I'm going to bring you in.
You look good, Turner.
Thanks,
All
man.
right.
How you doing?
Sexy man.
All right, we're joined by a very special guest here, fresh off a Grey Cup championship up there in the Canadian Football League. Coach, former BSU great quarterback, and Fresno State killer joins us here. Ryan Dinwiddie, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, guys. I like the Fresno State killer. I might have to get that tattooed on me later tonight. Let's see.
See how the night goes?
Yeah.
All right. A lot of people say that you started the legacy here with the victory over Fresno State when they were ranked 8th.
Yeah, that was kind of the start of the whole, I guess, movement. Us getting after those guys, and they were kind of like the talk of the town at the time, and it was a chance for us to put ourselves on the map. And that game, I guess you look back at that game until we're at now, that was kind of they're the team to beat, and now we're the team to beat. And so it's nice to take that away from those guys.
It's like the roles have reversed. You took that right off their mantle. They were the ones that would go on and take on everybody. I think they were ranked 8th that year.
Well, that's what Pat Hill used to always say, anytime, anywhere, right?
Oh.
Any opponent. But I respect him, too. He's a great coach. I think since he's left, Jeff Teffert's doing a great job there as well. But that was our chance to kind of take over, and sky's the limit now. I mean, obviously those guys have took it to a whole new level.
Well, yeah, Fresno State, Boise State's turned in quite a rivalry here. 4 times in about a year they play. This will be their 4th time they play each other. I mean, that's almost unheard of in college football.
No doubt, and I think they're probably the 2 best programs outside of the big conference. You look at the Pac-12, they have everybody around, and then you look outside the Pac-12 on the West Coast, at least you look at Boise and Fresno, and hopefully we can stay at number 1.
Oh, yeah, it's going to – that's funny. It's a nationally televised game tonight. It's on a Saturday night, but not a Friday night.
So real quick, Ryan, what stands out to you most about that 2001 game? Like, when you think back on it, it was the start of an era. It was your first year as a starter. It was your first, probably your biggest game to that point. What stands out to you the most about that game?
More so than anything, just a chip on our shoulder. I think we all had that. You were there too, brother.
I remember walking in there.
Yeah,
I knew we were gonna win. It was a different.
Win going into that game, and it was a chance for us to prove to the world what Boise State was about, what our locker room was about, and all the hard work we put into that. And yeah, we found a way to get it done. It wasn't easy, but I think that was the one game that kind of got us into our future games that were bigger games, and that was just the start of it. And then, yeah, it is what it is.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately, I was not playing that game. I was just watching from afar. But a local photographer did snap a beautiful picture of me. That was on the front page of the paper the next day. So that's the memory that stands out the most to me about that game, of course.
No doubt. And we got to get In-N-Out Burger the night before. All our moms brought that to us, so that was the key.
Fuel. It was fuel. Pure fuel. So, I don't know. What do you got? What do you got to get out of here soon? So what do you want to cover, man? What about, a big thing that I'm trying to do here, that we're trying to do here, is make this a good, comfortable place for alumni to come and plug whatever they want to plug, talk about whatever they want to talk about, reminisce on a story, a key play or thoughts on your playing time, anything like that, man. Just opening it up. Any locker room stories primarily, because that's what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah,
man.
Well, there's one locker room story we'll not talk about.
Oh,
I'm
sure. I'm sure.
Everything. You guys all need to come down here and join you guys for Suds Tavern. Obviously, Ross Kelly, Elk Grove, born and raised guy, one of the half owners here, and always home to the Broncos. And obviously, you, JT, love you, man.
Love it, man. Thank you.
No, just a special place. I always call it home. I wish I could get down here more, but one day, we'll see.
I know I haven't left, man. I can't get away.
Ryan, can you tell us a little bit about what you're in town for today, what you're going to be doing?
Well, I just came down for the game. Obviously, they're going to honor us in the first quarter, and me and Montel, after we won the Grey Cup, we said we got to go. So
beautiful.
I'm
Bring
hoping
a little of that magic down here.
Well, I'm hoping, but I think they'll handle business. And the Fresno game is always the game of the year, and you look forward to that game, and it's going to be for a championship usually. Maybe Nevada Reno from time to time, but yeah, you can ask for better football, and I'm just happy to see the boys play some ball tonight and see what they show out.
Absolutely.
Have you gotten a chance to watch them this year? Is this your first time watching them live, or?
Live, yeah. I watch them online all the time.
Okay.
Everybody in Calgary and Montreal, where I work too, they hate me because I always talk the most crap about Boise State winning, and I have a Boise State helmet on my desk and everything else. And
nice.
Yeah, everybody knows how I bleed blue, and I try to get every Boise State player I can up there where I'm working, and get a chance to play football if it's not the NFL, and so that's always a key.
That's good, giving back to the program, passing it forward or paying it forward, as they say.
Yeah, no doubt, and they give me a call, and Coach Red always calls about the players and stuff like that. So I mean, what else do you ask for, guys? A guy's coming out of the Boise Program, he's going to do it the right way, and he's going to be a great player and a great addition to your locker room. So that's all you can ask for.
So are you watching a lot of tape on Boise State players, I would take it then?
Well, yeah, it's funny. I talked to Harsh last year. I watched the Poinciana Bowl. They played Northern Illinois a few years ago, and they run the same plays we ran in 1999. And yeah, it was fun to reminisce about stuff like that. And then we'll run a play similar. We call it something different. And I look at Montel, I go, we call that grid. He goes, we still call it grid. And then some of the guys give me crap about that for being a little bit of a homer. But we love to reminisce a little bit.
Well, that's Boise State has homers all day,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Me too, number one homer here. Who's going to win the game? Boise State. By
They
how
better.
many?
I flew all the way down here and watched them win.
So you're saying Boise State, Fresno State's always a huge game. It's like everybody wants to play that game. It's circled, and it just happened to be circled 4 times in the last like 371 or 2 days or something like that. Isn't that crazy? Could you imagine playing Fresno State 4 times in a year?
I wish we could have.
I know,
back then,
That's exactly.
But no, I think a lot of us, if you look at the roster, I'm sure a lot of the guys are from California, right?
Yeah.
And that was always our big game to go home and kind of show everybody that Boise State's a place to be reckoned with. And everybody's like, why are you going to Boise State when we were in high school? I remember that. And like, what do you mean? I love that place. And we showed people what we're about going to those California games, and we were lucky enough to win in Fresno and all that.
And in a small way, or a big way maybe, probably responsible for the gigantic influx of people moving to this city currently. It's crazy right
I think
now.
some of the Idaho residents would not love that.
I know, but I mean,
I changed my California plates the first year I moved here.
Yeah, I know. They don't
Smart
like.
man.
Yeah.
It's very intelligent.
Ryan, take us through that time when you went back down to play Fresno. You're in front of your home crowd, your home fans, a lot of high school friends and things. Take us through that experience about going to play at home, pretty much.
It was amazing. Just the high school coaches and everybody else, and I think Fresno could have been a better location, right? Because you have the LA guys, they drive down, and Sacramento's only a 2-hour drive, so everything worked out great. And then they were like rowdy too in those days, right? They
throwing
expected to beat us.
tortillas, screaming at us,
and just going in that environment, right? It's like a street fight almost. And,
Making that much more fun to win.
And go in their backyard and beat them, and then there's not much you can say after a game. You either win or lose, right? You can talk all you want throughout the week and throughout the game, but once the game hits, I think we let the talking happen.
Here you go.
I remember 2 years later in '03, walking back to the huddle. Dave and Michael came up to me and told me, he was like, yeah, Jason, whatever you did to that D lineman at the end of that play, don't do it again, because the ref said he's going to throw you out if you did that again.
Yeah, what'd you do? Did you give him the 4 horsemen?
No, hell no. That's like
the 4 horsemen
that's like
is
a dirty
the O-line talk.
Oh man, that's an old school.
You gonna let it
Derek
through?
Ollie.
How about Doctor?
I don't know.
Rob Vine and Huff used to give the Doctor call.
Oh, okay.
You want to take us through that one, or you want to leave that one alone?
No, that's incriminating.
Yeah, you're trying to hurt the guy.
You're
It's
trying to
classic.
telling tales
Now,
out of
now
school.
that Rob's coaching at Capitol and Huff's obviously coaching Washington, you can't preach that anymore. But
it was a different era of football back then.
It was.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah. No more bounties. You can't do that anymore.
That's true. On every level, it's changed. So.
Yep, absolutely. I try to just give money for sacks, and so hopefully you can knock the quarterback out with sacks now.
There you go.
You can't do that anymore, but yeah.
And Ryan, take us through. You've played in the stadium, not when it was. I think they've done some remodeling since then. But take us through what you feel Boise State's advantage is playing at home here, the home crowd.
Just the fans, to be honest with you. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better group of fans. Like you look at some of the, Florida States and the Georgias and Alabamas, but Boise fans are right up there with the best of them. And you look forward to playing on the blue. It's a special day when it comes to Saturday, right? And you only get a few games each season to appreciate that, and the fans the same way, and they show out every Saturday. And going out on the blue is nothing better.
Wouldn't you say though, especially in the current era, maybe not so much when we were here, but the second half crowd is completely different than the first half crowd.
Yeah, the second half crowd's usually gone. They're drinking in their
everyone's
motorhomes.
gone.
The game's over
so what do you
with.
think?
Yeah.
What do you think Boise State could do to help encourage the team? Because now it's pretty much regardless of score, everyone's either remaining tailgating in the parking lot or headed to the bar, which is great for Ross and Byrne down here at Suds.
Yeah.
Suds.
Well, I know. I mean, shoot, watch football, man. Watch the freshmen play. Even the games out of reach, win or lose, you got to watch the next upcoming players, right?
Exactly.
And, you only get, you get 6-7 home games a year?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
And
it's
you're
like
lucky.
holidays in my mind, and as your nights to enjoy that and watch the young football players and enjoy that. But each his own. You know,
Exactly.
some people want to watch in the tailgate. Some people want to watch it from home. As long as you're watching and supporting it, and that's all we can ask for.
Okay.
Ron, I have a question. You played quarterback here, obviously. This is Brett Rippon's last start on the blue, 4-year starter. I'm sure you've taken a look at him. I'll just let you speak about his game and where you think he's headed, what he's going to do.
Oh, a very mature guy. I mean, obviously starting as a true freshman, just like Kellen, one of the few guys to be able to do that. And I've been high on him for years. I've been trying to get him on our protected list. BC beat us to it, but hopefully, shoot, I get to coach him one day. I feel like he's a championship player, great leader, understands everything, football background, and obviously we're going to miss him next year. That's the thing, is we got to find the next Brett Rippon.
Yeah, back-to-back Mountain West championships, hopefully, right? That's big. That's big time.
Yeah, you can mark it down right now.
Mark it down right now. All right, we're going to keep you to that prediction. Hold you to that.
Oh, do we know the spread?
The spread last time I looked was 2.5. It's probably creeped to 3 though, because the spread has a way of ending on a field goal. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I
What about-
appreciate you guys having me on. And all
Oh,
that,
yeah.
But I got to go to the game.
I
now.
understand.
gotta
Yeah,
get
I really
no
appreciate
worries.
it.
Yeah.
You know, anytime you have to come down and say what's up, RD, man, come do it. We'll be
Well,
here.
hopefully we get to get a chance to do this each year.
Yeah, the bowl game too. We got a bowl game. Are you going to be in town? Maybe we get a phone interview. On your
I don't know if
thoughts
the
on
wife is
bowl
going to
game.
allow me to do that.
I
but
know.
We'll
Wait,
try
maybe
to
we
make
could
it work.
That's why we'll get on the phone. We're
Yeah.
trying to work out a remote interview system as well. So
Yeah. Or you guys could just fly me down.
yeah.
we'll talk to Ross about that. That's
Our
in the budget.
sponsor. We'll talk to our sponsor, Suds Tavern, right across the street from Bronco Stadium, about that immediately.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thanks, RD,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, guys.
Appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, no doubt.
Take it easy, bud.
Yeah, hey, did you tell him how you burnt your hand yet?
Oh, no, not yet. That hasn't come up. Oh, wait, one more question real quick.
Before you go.
Yeah, who do you personally want to see come down and be on the Alumni Suds podcast?
I got to go with Billy Wingfield, my favorite.
Okay, well, Billy's scheduled to come down later, so let's get somebody else who hasn't been booked already.
Well,
I'm trying to call somebody out.
God, who could we get down here? I'm trying to think. Rob Vine.
Rob
Gotta get
Vine?
Rob.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
All right, so that'll
Rob
be our
Vine's
goal
one
for
of
the
my
bowl
favorite
game.
guy. He's doing a good job coaching high school football up here. Just a great man. Great
Yep.
father. Love him.
Love him to death. An amazing friend. That guy, Rob Vine, had my back when nobody had my back.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we'll get Greg Swenson up here too.
Swin. Hell yeah.
All right.
Sounds
well,
good, RD.
thanks
Thanks,
again,
bud.
Ryan.
Appreciate it,
We
guys.
appreciate
Yeah,
you coming
yeah,
down and
no
taking
doubt.
a few minutes with us. Thank you very much.
You are listening to the Bronco Alumni Show on the Suds Sports Network.
And we're live, everybody. And we're back.
We're live.
Wow, what an interview with Ryan Dinwiddie.
That was an exciting interview.
Delightful, to
we
say
thank
the
Ryan
least.
again for his time. It's a very busy day for him. He's not in town much, so we do appreciate him taking time out of his busy day to stop by Suds and help support our podcast and Suds.
And Ross. And
Burn, fine.
And Suds. And Burn, too.
I think he was supporting Ross a little bit more than Burn, but
Ross,
that's okay.
well, Ross Burns is an entity now.
We'll put them together. Ross, he was here, yes, helping celebrate Ross Burns.
Which is just a great game day environment down here at
It
Suds
is.
today, I gotta
It's
say.
getting packed. I think a lot of that has to do with the Memphis game, which is, not every day do you have a game that can decide whether you're going to go to a smaller bowl or a major bowl.
This
in the
game
afternoon.
could make BSU potentially like $10 million.
Yeah, we're talking a new building, courtesy of Memphis.
Exactly.
At least some new weights to lift out, work out with. I don't know. What do football players do? You guys lift? Is that what they do?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that how they get so big?
Well, that's some dead air right there.
Yeah, that is. That's all right. We'll just keep it moving.
Well, what's going on next?
It's a fun environment. I'd like to look outside. I wish we had a window and we could look outside and kind of get the feel of the street. We can go over the weather for the game because just to paint the picture here, it's like fake winter, where the foothills in Boise are all covered with snow, but down here it's not winter.
Well, I had a little snow on my windshield this morning, so
It's a winter preview here in Boise, so
yeah.
not yet.
It is
December
not
1st.
yet the winter.
Yeah, it's we're getting into winter season, so I wonder how ESPN's going to play that tonight. And they're going to show a shot of the foothills and talk about, the winter has arrived here.
What was it, 2 weeks ago when Fresno State was here last? I was watching the pregame, and there was some Fresno State players running around with their shirts off in the cold. It was cold 2 weeks ago here.
That just makes them tougher.
They were like trying to adjust themselves and acclimate themselves to the temperature.
I never played professional
Show how tough they are, yeah.
college football, but I can imagine if a guy had his shirt off on the other sidelines, that would be it. I'd quit. I'd be like, wow, that guy looks so tough. I don't even know if I want to play the game today.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting...
Stupid and tough, there's a real fine line there, isn't there?
I think it might have been some type of attempt at like a psych out. Like, oh, we don't care if it's cold, or I'm going to go see how
Maybe
cold it is.
they saw the blue and they thought it was the summer. Oh, we're out by the way.
Go swimming, yo!
Do you remember, speaking of the blue, do you remember the old the wives' tale of, the birds bombard the blue?
See, I've heard either way, that it's a wives' tale and that it actually happened from credible sources. So I think we're going to have to get Snopes after this one. That's the only way.
We're going to have to go deep into the... Ooh, that's a special episode when we have the maintenance crew on for Boise State Stadium. They can tell us about exciting things like when they let celebrities in after hours, because I've heard that's a good way to meet people. Be on a grounds crew somewhere at a stadium that everybody wants to see, and you never know who's going to show up and knock on the door.
Such as?
Let's see. I know Bill Burr was on the blue. Bill Burr's gotten in on the blue. I know Alex Rodriguez has been on the blue. But I'm sure those maintenance guys, those are just two I can think of from, through the grapevine. But
okay, Bill. You just dropped into Bill Burr there for a second. Oh, there's Billy. What's up?
All right.
Oh, he just showed up. Yeah, here you are. Here, you take these.
Shut up.
All right, we're live here from Suds on the Game Day Suds Sports Network podcast. We're here with Boise State wide receiver, legend, Billy Wingfield is with us. Welcome to the show, Billy.
Exclusive.
Thanks for coming on the show, Billy.
Thanks for having me, fellas.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks in the works. I'm glad we finally got to make it happen.
Yeah, it's development. I like what you guys have set up here. It's coming together.
We're trying to look like we know what we're doing. Just keep telling them that.
I mean, the fake it till you make it is working right now.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Billy Wingfield got here in 1998 to Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's start there, Billy. Tell us what brought you to Boise State, some of the recruiting process, why you chose Boise State, and just take us through, your senior year of high school, junior year of high school. Let's start there.
Yeah, so played my football my senior year at Carson High School. And I ended up transferring at the end of my senior year and running track over at Long Beach Poly. But what brought me out to Boise was basically the recruitment process. I didn't know much about it. My coaches back home in California had, their own opinions on what was going on in Idaho. They were a little bit skeptical on the whole Idaho decision. There wasn't a lot going on in Boise at the time.
Could you take us through what coach was recruiting you at that time?
So I talked to Coach Peterson. He was over at Oregon. I was talking with the coaches over at Washington State, San Diego State. Took a trip to Idaho, and then Boise State.
Okay. So who's the head coach at that time when you're being recruited at Boise State?
It was Dirk Cutter.
Oh, Dirk Cutter, the current Tampa Bay Bucks coach.
Yeah, Dirk Cutter. Yeah, he's the man.
Is he the one that brought you in, or?
Yeah, Coach Cutter sealed the deal. He came into my living room and talked to my dad, and just basically sat on the couch, and it wasn't really a whole lot of praise Billy Wingfield and all the things that he's accomplished. He simply said, look, I'm gonna bring your son in. I think he's good. I got 5 seniors. I think he can play his true freshman year. But here's the thing you need to know. Every year I'm gonna come back out and try to find a guy that can beat out your son. And my dad was like, oh, wait. Are you saying just the best players? Best players play? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, my son will thrive in that situation. Yeah, you're going there. I love this guy. Straightforward. Didn't beat around the bush. Let's go.
That's nice.
Dirk Cutter was a straight shooter, if nothing else. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
No games.
At all.
Did not mince words.
All business.
Mm-hmm.
He's ready to go, dialed in all the time. Very intense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So did you take a visit here first, or did you commit without seeing it?
No. I took a visit here. Actually, it was like my 3rd or 4th trip. And one of the things that actually got me like locked in was when I came here, and it was a total setup. I went to this house party, and at the house party, I seen Hawaiians, and they were from the gymnast team. I seen some tall basketball players. Basically, the house party looked like the scene of diversity, and I was like, wow, how could this be in Idaho? Like, I love this. This is an experience. And so that's kind of what locked me in. So when I got here, it was a little bit of a shock to see what my reality was, being that it was so small townish. But back to the question, is what locked me in was that house party. I seen a lot of everything going on, and people were getting along. The program was obviously trying to rebuild, and there was a lot of opportunity coming in as a true freshman. And I seen that as exactly where I wanted to be. I wanted to get on the field as soon as I got here.
So rebuilding, because they were kind of recovering from a coach who kind of left. Houston Nutt left.
Yeah.
So is that what you mean, recovering from? Or it was also only 2 years after Boise State even entered Division I.
Right.
So that's a start. That's like ground zero, pretty much.
Well, yeah. So the rebuilding process, and this is part of the Dirk Cutter speech as well, is he was basically saying, look, I'm bringing in the best I could find from everywhere, and you could just tell by the recruiting class that he brought in that they were serious about putting a program together and, more importantly, winning games immediately.
Yeah, and that's what everybody did after that, was pretty much come and win games.
Right.
Repeatedly.
I think that was the start of like that blue-collar mentality, like let's go get all of the guys who really want it, who are going to leave it all on the field, may not be 5-star, but they've competed against the 5-stars, and they would love to have a shot at basically upsetting that apple cart.
Everyone had that chip on their shoulder.
That's
Everyone
right.
had that story. Everyone had the story of who they were getting recruited by that jilted them and left them behind and replaced them. All these stories that you hear, and everybody, it was like common ground right away.
I actually have one of those, man. I went to Washington State on a recruiting trip, and I was pumped up because Washington State at the time, they ran 5 wides, open pass game. All the receivers out there were getting just crazy yards and catches. And on my recruiting trip, I noticed that I wasn't hanging out with the receiver coach or the receivers. I was with the DBs. And on day 2, I finally stopped and was like, hey, man, am I going to ever talk to the receiver coach? They were like, oh, yeah, well, no. Like, all of our receivers are 6'2" and up.
Surprise.
Yeah, so needless to say, you know, that chip got a little bit bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So
Chip on the shoulder, that is.
Yeah, we went over my story last week. It's a lot longer than that one, with the whole when I got recruited by a team and then dropped by that team and was scrambling last minute and all this stuff, like that. So
I never even heard that story.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, why don't you recap some of it?
Okay,
Give
a
them
quick
the short
recap.
version.
Okay, so I was I went on an early recruiting trip in the season, like in season of my senior year. We had a bye week because we traveled out of state to actually play a team in Illinois. And then during that bye week,
the short version,
the University of Iowa, was really looking at me from my junior film. So they flew me out that week. Hayden Fry,
legendary coach
at the University of Iowa. He was there for like 30 straight seasons. And offers me a scholarship. Okay, I'm like,
did you sign something, or was it
no. Everybody told me. My DB coach told me before I left. He said, "Don't sign anything on your trip. Don't ever sign anything on your first trip, especially."
Who told you that?
My defensive backs coach, Deshaun Burns. He coaches Wingfield Christian down in Southern Cal. Now they won a Southern Section title this year, actually.
Oh, nice.
I'll have to hook you up with him. He does a lot of prep off the field, like. Oh, what's his company? I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah,
well, hey,
sidebar really quick.
Sidebar.
Like, I like the fact that you had someone that was like coaching and prepping you up for your recruiting trips. Like no one did that to me. So every trip I went on, I committed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you know, at the end of it, like they sit you down and they give you this spiel and they ask you like, "What's your deal?" and "What are you thinking?" I'm like, "I'm all in. I'm all in." Yeah, right.
This is awesome.
You fed me steak. 5-course meals, best restaurants in town. Like, yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
Oh, you guys must really like me.
Right, you love me, right? I committed every time.
So I came back, and there was some other schools interested, like big schools, Berkeley, Oregon, Washington State, a lot of Pac-12, nothing in SoCal though. No UCLA, no USC. I didn't have the weight, the stats for that. But anyways,
prototype stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I get back. I kind of say, Oregon, oh, I don't know, you guys don't have the engineering program I was looking for. Or, like, I don't know, maybe. And then later on, Hayden Fry retires, like shortly after that. And then their new coach, Kirk Ferentz, comes in and is like not that high up on me at all. And he's like, so you don't have a scholarship here no more. Yeah, he's like, you don't have a scholarship here no more. Like, you maybe come and walk on, but no, you don't have a scholarship here no more. So this was like 2 weeks before signing day, and I'm scrambling. And luckily, a few weeks before that, Notre Dame had shown interest in me because they had a situation where one of their backups prospects, like their main guy that they were looking for, one of their backups was not working out for them.
Yeah.
So they had me come out on a trip to go visit UND, which was amazing. I got to take a trip late to Oregon, but they had already signed everybody. They were just like trying to get their recruiting budget back for next year or something. I don't know.
Courtesy trip.
Which didn't have any. They didn't have a recruiting budget because they had that Phil Knight money. You know what I'm saying? So this all happens like 2 weeks before signing day. My high school coach calls me in, and he's got Dirk Cutter on the phone. And he's like, Jason, we've seen tape on you. We've been recruiting Paul Reyna for the last year.
Paul already.
Yeah. He had already committed. We've been recruiting Paul Reyna. He was already locked in to come up here. We want to offer you a scholarship right now on the spot, and we want to fly out this weekend to come and take a recruiting trip.
That's how it happened.
Yeah. And then a week later, or no, not even that, like an hour later, I was back in my coach's office in Nevada. Had called and said the same thing, basically, and offered me the scholarship and the trip. And I was like, I'm already taking the trip to Boise this week. Maybe we'll be in touch after I get back from there. Because by that point in time, I was just ready for the whole thing to be over with. I just wanted to know where I was going so I could prep myself and get there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and that's how it went down. Like, I came up to Boise. I took my trip just like you and loved it. Yeah. Loved everybody I ran into. Had a great time. I already had the homie coming up here from my high school.
That's big.
Yeah, so it was a lot after that. Called Reno back, said, sorry, coach.
So did the chip on your shoulder get a little bit bigger when you
Absolutely.
got to the end of that
I remember
process?
I was like,
now you got something to prove?
I was like angry crying.
Really?
On the phone with Kirk Ferentz. Yeah, I was like so mad. I was like, man.
It's disappointment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like that that school a lot. Yeah. It was like grieving process.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly the stage of the grieving process.
What was it, Iowa State?
No, University of Iowa.
University of Iowa.
In Iowa City. Dude, they had this crazy setup in their downtown where like the university was surrounded by this strip of like downtown pubs, and like the city was built around the school, like, and it was nothing like here at all. Like, it was just this hard college environment in the middle of cornfields, which probably would have sucked now looking back on it, but
yeah, you didn't want to be there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Boise is much better.
Like you were like already thinking about what life would be.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's Hayden Fry, like the TV show Coach.
Yeah.
Is made after him. You know, I was like, I'm gonna go get coached by a legend, and then it didn't happen. But it did getting coached by a legend, I guess, and Dirk Cutter and Dan Hawkins.
Yeah, man.
Who are both legends in their own right.
Absolutely.
For several reasons.
Absolutely.
Yes. So
I think it's crazy how everything came together right at that moment in time.
I know, just like today, us being here right now. Like, you have no idea how stressful this is to make this happen, and it all coming together is just beautiful. I credit.
You guys are doing a good job, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Billy.
All right, well, let's talk more about Billy.
Yes,
everybody
please.
heard your story.
Oh, yeah, that part. JT just took over the interview that fast.
That's fine.
Yeah.
He's going to tell a story every
every
episode,
time. I'm going to tell that story every episode.
For our generation, it always has to be like a common thread or theme of the conversation, and I think it's the chip on the shoulder. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of people we've talked to, or all the people, they have a similar story about coming to Boise and falling in love with it. And I mean, I think it also speaks to the kind of person that Boise State was recruiting and continues to recruit. High character guys, good people in the community. Maybe not the top upper echelon athletes, but they make up with that with their work ethic.
That's right.
They close the gap.
That's right.
So.
And the coaching you probably get at Boise State is more efficient than most places you would go because they already have those athletes. They just put them on the field and tell them what to do. But the technique and the drive and the work ethic and the always pushing to get better.
Well, let's talk more about that coaching tree. I mean, that's a vast coaching tree. I mean, this little place in the Northwest has just reached all across America, the Canadian Football League. I mean, these guys are everywhere coaching.
Yeah, that's why I say it's funny how it came together all at that point in time. Like, it had to be a deliberate, sit-down conversation on strategy, like a 20-year plan.
Well, yeah, I think also you see how many guys have gone on from the program to coach, and high-character guys are the guys that go into coaching. I mean, people that care, that people put in the extra hour, and I think that's exactly what made Boise State successful. That's why so many of these guys have gone into coaching and become successful.
And so many coaches you haven't even heard about coaching in the high school level locally in Boise that have just produced a lot of players that have gone elsewhere. We were just talking with Bronco great Dan Lukart earlier from the 1980 team, and he was telling us all these different coaches that are all linked to Boise State in the high school, and his kid was coming out and ended up coming to Boise State too on scholarship. And it's amazing, like the coaching impact alone that the school has had, like John was saying, on the college level, pro, CFL, and high schools as well.
It speaks to the recruitment process, man. When I talk about that strategy and that 20-year plan that was deliberate, it started with the coaching, right? Picking the right coach who can bring the right group around him, who can all buy into the program and the concept, and then bring in the players who can also buy into the concept. I often tell people that all the time at work or just different people in the neighborhood or community that I talk to. You know, they do the football analogy, right? Like, yeah, man, it's kind of like, you know, you're on the field and you're one-on-one and there's no seconds left. And sometimes I take a step back and just say, hey, man, it's a lot bigger than that. I mean, college football is a multi-billion-dollar organization, probably one of the bigger businesses in the state, if you think about it. So
absolutely,
really running a Fortune 500 to some degree.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, how it affects the community.
Yeah.
And you mentioned about the 20-year plan. It's one thing to have a 20-year plan. It's another thing to execute a 20-year plan and to keep it going over different coaching staffs. And I think, you know, they've done administration's done a really good job of bringing in the right people at the right time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's definitely deliberate. All the way to seeing like Harsin out there right now is funny.
So did you play with Harsin then?
I did play with Harsin, man. Harsin was a nice quarterback. He had a rocket. So, he was always the guy on the sideline at the time. He wasn't starting when I came in, but Harsin was like the brain. Not the brains with the S on it, the brain. Like
was he a big film guy? Was he one of the, you know, just lock himself in the room?
Just a football guy, right? Like, he's the guy that's sitting in there while they're coming up with the offensive script, and he's got ideas. He's got ideas like, hey, we could also think about this. Hey, if you look at this way, we can also turn this into that. Audible could look like this. And so he was always that guy, and it made a lot of sense for him to transition into the coach role, because that's essentially what he was as a player. You know, he's the guy making up code signals to fake other guys out for the offensive plays we're calling in. I mean, he's all about it, so it makes a lot of sense.
Well, you're involved in coaching too currently, right, Billy? In like a private sector type of coaching?
Yeah, so there's a couple things going on. We're doing a 7-on-7 competition. It's kind of a go-between between recreational and the high school leagues right now.
Okay, who's we?
When I say we, so I've been supporting an outfit called Evolution.
Okay.
And they're more geared toward going out and it's like club football for 7-on-7, off-season prep. But in the interim, what I've noticed is we had tryouts last year. It's like 100 kids came out. You can only pick so many for a 7-on-7 team. And some of these kids were just destroyed. Like, I didn't make the team. Dads were talking to me. So we thought about it. It's like, man, how can we capture that as well and not have them lose that fire? And so we've been developing a 501c3 so that we could also have this developmental thing too, where we're like all inclusive, and even though you don't make the club team per se, if you're interested, you can still be a part.
Absolutely.
We'll make a way for everyone to have access.
And what are the age groups? What ages are we talking about?
We're doing everything from 4th grade up to senior year in high school.
All right, so from early just starting to play football or get into it to guys that are getting ready maybe to go on to college.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a lot like a fighting gym, or like a training, like the local fighting gym here, Straight Blast Gym. They have lessons that they teach that are open to anybody who wants to come in and train.
Yeah.
And then there's another squad that is ready to go out and do battle and try to fight in the octagon or ring or whatever you want to do.
Right.
So
and that's like the evolution.
Exactly.
Like elite squad. So we traveled to Portland last year. We went out and competed, and the idea is just to compete against all the talent in the Northwest, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's not just keep it local in Idaho. Let's put our best players together and see what we have, and also show the local guys here in Idaho who you're competing against for scholarships, for example.
Exactly.
Right? And in terms of the 501c3 component, one thing that it also brings is these strategic partnerships we're developing in town, where you have an academic sort of side of what we're doing too. Like, so you're connecting with tutors, you're making sure that these guys are not just coming out and working out, getting good and showing their skills off, but letting the parents know, it's comprehensive, right? You can't even be out
so
here
that
on the
way
field if you're not taking care of the classroom.
And that's big time for the recruiters when they show up and they can see, you have your printout and you're like, Coach, I got my GPA and my SAT and all my boxes checked. Damn, I'm good to go. I'm out of the gate.
It should actually be the first clip in your highlight reel.
Exactly. Yeah.
By the way, I passed my ACT, SAT.
Perfect.
Here's my grades. I'm qualified. Oh, and by the way, I'm really good at what I do.
And I just dated myself by saying SAT.
Is that not a thing anymore?
No, it's all ACT now.
See, man, goodness gracious.
Sorry, I made the mistake. I said you guys used to watch film, and I forgot it was too long ago. You used to draw pictures, so they didn't have film back then. I apologize.
Man. My son, who's 9, he's seen a VHS in one of my little boxes in the garage. Like, yeah, man, Dad's got his film on here. You want to see what I used to do? He was just like, yeah, but how did we see it on that? Like,
what the hell?
What do we do? Do we look into it? Like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they update those, Billy, now. They put those on DVD.
Yeah,
we can get you a guy.
I'm working on that. My son made it pretty apparent that I need to step into the millennium.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
No more SAT. That's crazy.
That's what kids are for, I think. To bring us into the millennium.
Yeah, it keeps us young.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Tell you what's cool, right? We don't know anymore, so.
We really don't. No more SAT. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's mostly ACT now. I think you can choose to take it, but I think the consensus amongst high school students is that the ACT is easier to pass. And they take both of them, and they take either one, so it don't matter.
I took the SAT, and I think I got an 800. And I think I needed an 820, and I was crushed. I thought I was kind of smart, but the mistake I made at the time is you're only supposed to answer the questions that you know the answers to, right?
Skip the rest.
Yeah, and you got like 4 minutes left, and they got that timer up there, and you got like 60 questions.
You're not abacadabra down that thing. No, you don't want to. You don't want to do abacadabra.
I'd also recommend all the kids out there, if you're going to take the ACT or the SAT, don't go out the night before.
Right.
That's going to lower your score.
Yeah, for sure. So those are the things we hope we could bring with the 501c3 component, is like I was telling you about the recruitment process. Like, I didn't have anyone giving me any tips on how to handle myself, the questions I should be asking of the college.
Off the field.
Yeah, right?
I mean, a lot of guys know how to play, but there's a lot more that goes into it.
Oh, man, playing is just such a small fraction of what you're going to be committing your time to. And that's what we're hoping we can bring is, hey, here's a heads up. Here's what you can get ready for. A lot of dads love their sons. They just want to be a part. But to have that background and experience and to be able to share that, I think there's just a lot of value in it. And that's sort of what we want to bring, is just to let them know what's coming, what to expect, and how to prepare yourself, both parents as well as the student athlete.
Are we in the early stages here, or are you guys still getting the paperwork filed so you can get your business model off the ground?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we got the bylaws going. Okay. We're doing some edits and just refinement things.
When can we expect? When can we expect to sign John's son Jack up for our 7-on-7 class.
You can sign up right now.
When are we going to be in? Oh, so you're already doing classes? You're already doing classes and
we're
lessons?
already doing the program. This
Okay.
is just more so like enhancement type work, you know. So we're already doing this stuff. It's just a matter of us, really framing what our goals are going to be, recruiting a board that can help us in terms of the sponsorship side of it, and making sure that, again, we're deliberate about our strategy and what we're trying to accomplish and how do we communicate, our value message, right?
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're, teaching young men how to act off the field, because I don't think there's enough focus on that. I mean, there's enough focus on how do I get faster, taller, throw harder, stronger. But like, how do I show up for class every day? How do I conduct myself when I'm in the community? I mean, these are important things that you're, and they get overlooked a lot. And just this weekend we've seen it comes out in the NFL sometimes. Somebody didn't take the time with a talented person to teach them how to be a good person outside of.
Yeah, that's a key component, right? Especially in this age of social media. I don't think you have the same luxuries we have where you can make certain mistakes and it wouldn't be primetime news.
Although things did still end up managing to get caught on film somehow. One thing in particular I remember.
The names will be changed to protect the innocent.
All right.
Somebody, I don't know who he was,
right?
Ended up at somebody's house, like butt naked in a living room.
Yeah.
And nobody knew how he got there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I remember that.
I think what you're saying, these are the kind of decisions that you want to help the future generations avoid making
these decisions.
Yes.
I think you make a good point too, Billy.
And
about
if they're unavoidable, if the person the person just shows up in your living room, how to appropriately deal with that.
Right. Real-time decision making.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes with even being a minor college star. I mean, on Friday night and Saturday night after the games, and how you conduct yourself at whether it's a gathering, a party, and there's unfortunately the world we live in. There's people out there that are looking to catch you doing something or put you in a bad situation. And
everybody's got a camera phone.
Yeah.
Right?
And
there's no privacy.
There isn't. And you got to know how to maneuver in that environment, right?
Yeah, these are all great things. If you're telling a junior high kid, if it's being hammered into their head, like, hey, you got to be conscious of all these other things outside of school's first, sports are second, but there's this whole other element of social, which will affect both,
right.
Your schoolwork and your playing career.
Your optics under control, and you're on top of it. So we have this thing with some of our middle school athletes that are traveling on our competitive team with Evolution, and a couple of them were, I think, caught doing this the vaping thing.
Oh, okay.
It's a thing now, right?
So this is like a road trip away from the parents kind of trip?
No, this is just at school. Like, this isn't outside of what we got going on.
I got
This is just them going through the school year and the season.
Getting a little trouble at school.
Yeah, running into a little adversity. And it's those things, right? To them, it may seem harmless, but the one person who sees you and reports it, and then it becomes a thing, and then it's bigger than just a thing, understanding that you are really an example, and whether or not you want to embrace that or not, it's just what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be conscious of what you're doing affecting your opportunities in the future. So.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if 500 people over the course of a year go out and get caught vaping or do whatever. If that one high-profile person does it, everyone's going to find out about it.
Yeah. And it's a great opportunity to make an example out of you, too.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, you kind of put the people who are in an authority role also in sort of a little quagmire in that, now how do we deal with this, right?
Because, everyone's watching.
Yeah, right?
Precisely.
Well, are we going to get to the reason why we're really here today?
Yeah, Fresno State.
Yeah, Fresno State, BSU.
All right, Billy, so you were on the field in the game that we're kind of referring to it this year, the 2001 Boise State, Fresno State football game.
Yeah.
What do you remember most about that game, Billy?
So one, I want to say, I equate that game to like a David and Goliath type of thing. They were number 8. They were the person. But what I remember most, to answer your question, is coming to the field before the game started
Mm-hmm.
and having people pelt us with pennies and just
Tortillas,
everything, man.
trash.
Not as welcoming as the Boise folks.
No.
That has an effect, right?
Mhm.
It's like you got to deal with the fans before you even get to the field, and that's a thing. Like,
It's a small roped off corridor, and they're thick, and they're waiting for you. Remember?
it's a setup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a setup.
Yeah.
It's like, all
They're
right,
walking
here they
you through the
come.
gauntlet.
Ready, aim, fire. And there's like no one there saying, hey, stop, no, or don't. It's sort of like, yeah, this is how we greet you.
Yeah, we were
That's what I
not very
remember.
welcome.
Yeah. It's like, man, that sucks.
Do you think that's how everybody got it when they went there, or is it mostly just, did they have something else extra for us? I don't know what it was.
It's hard to answer, man. Being it is, I've never had the experience, you
Yeah.
know, or seen another team come in. I think it's a culture thing at
Yeah.
Fresno State, man. I mean, they're just kind of rough around the edges, and you know, kind of they got that.
Anytime, anywhere.
Right. They
Yeah.
got that edge to them, right?
Some extra testosterone running
Right.
through there.
I
Yeah.
think that's just their culture.
Exactly.
But we dealt with that. Yeah.
Oh.
We dealt with that.
What's
I remember Travis Berger walking down that corridor afterwards, and they were throwing even more shit after us after the game.
Oh yeah, after the win. Oh God.
And Berger had his helmet on. Obviously, he didn't want to get hit with nothing. And
I think that's what they were telling us. Don't take your helmet off.
And he was just yelling at everybody, "We're sorry,
Right.
we're sorry." Oh God, rubbing it in bad. It was great. Travis Berger, great American.
Good experience.
Billy? Billy, you were talking about the game at the time, 8th ranked Fresno State. You go in there. It's I believe we've talked about this earlier, but it's one of the first games Boise State's on ESPN. They got the whole spotlight to themselves, and
yeah.
a lot of people point at this game as the game that kind of changed everything. Fresno State was the team that was the ESPN darling that was ranked, and Boise State goes in and takes that game from them. And talk about the game, but how it changed, you know, the history of the program and where it is today.
Man, yeah, I think that game right there is one of the pivotal moments in Boise State history. And
Agreed.
it was like football, Mortal Kombat, right? Like
And-
at the end, it was like, finish him.
And it's remained that way since
We
then.
finished him, right?
Yeah.
That was it. Like, that was the turning point. Like, that was the paradigm shift for our level of football at that
Well, yeah,
time.
and every game since then has been just like a death match. I mean, maybe not on the score. Well, yeah, you can see on the scoreboard. There's no.
What does it look like?
There's
there?
several close games. There's a few close games, but there's a lot of games where they're just not taking the foot off the gas pedal. Like whoever is winning is just mashing and not.
Like it's personal.
Yeah.
What is the overall, like, win-loss?
15-6 Boise
Oh,
State.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, all
all
right,
time.
gotcha. Yeah.
Fresno
That's no
State
joke.
has not been happy lately.
I thought
here.
that was the case. Like, I was looking at those scores there, and I'm like, man, I don't really see Fresno State. I mean, we finished them, right?
Oh,
It
yeah.
was Mortal Kombat.
It was.
2001.
Their last win, Fresno State, was that last year?
It
No.
was
2014.
2013. Yeah, 2013 in
Yeah,
Fresno.
that was the year Fresno State. That was the first Mountain West
41-40. That was a
championship,
close one.
Yeah.
But that's like the one close one, and most of them are just
Thrashings, right?
mashing.
yeah. But Fresno hasn't, since that game, Fresno really hasn't, I mean, the
Been
game
able to
they won,
recover,
yeah,
right?
Just a couple wins, I think, in there.
I don't think you guys heard me. Finish it. We stuck our hands into their chest while we're playing them on their home turf, snatched their heart out.
Well,
Impressive.
okay.
Well, I mean, this
knew
could be-
everybody knows who was the boss after that 2001 game.
Yeah.
But playing them every year after that and dealing with that resentment, like they were coming at us. They were taking their best shot at us every year as well.
Oh yeah, they definitely would get up for the game.
And it was personal on the field. I remember after a game I played.
Oh yeah.
This D lineman, I ended up on the ground. He's sitting there like stomping on my feet with his cleats, like after the last play. And I got up and we almost fought like right there in the middle of the field after the game. But it
did
was
we
no
win?
joke. Oh yeah, we smashed them.
Yeah.
Scoreboard is all we had to do.
Right.
Scoreboard.
Right. But did we win?
Yeah, we won. We won a lot of them.
I can understand that frustration.
Billy, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go for it.
This is the fourth time in, I think, what did he say, a little over a year
Yeah,
they
like
played
300
Fresno State. Can you imagine playing a rival 4 times in a year in college football?
That'd be tough, man.
I mean, this is
That'd be tough.
This
Like
is
today is going to be tricky. right? Today's going to be tricky because Fresno knows what to expect.
Yeah, there's no secrets here, I don't think, after.
Right.
I mean, and these are not only these teams play a lot, these are the same guys playing each other 4 times.
That
I mean,
makes it
most
really
most of the
tough,
core
man.
team from last year and this year on
That
both
makes
sides
it
are taking
really tough. That's why the game's going to be good today, right? Is one, there's a rivalry. One, there's going to be that edge that Fresno State always wants to basically take us down. But they know each other so well, right? There won't be any gimmicks or that jump out really fast type of start to the game.
Yeah, there's not anything either one of them haven't seen.
It's going to be line up, and the better man will go away with it, which, I mean, that should definitely get the guys up on the Boise State team.
Or it could come down to who's developed something new, like who took
New wrinkle?
Yeah, a new wrinkle. Who got that new wrinkle?
Yeah, it was Harsin in there, Harsin in the bathroom last night drawing up the super secret play.
Exactly. That's what
I know he was.
You know all these
can't wait to see it.
offensive coordinators are steeped in developing new wrinkles around here.
Well, there's extra onus on this game, too. We're kind of paying attention live here. Memphis is leading UCF, and if Memphis gets it done, a lot of Memphis fans in Boise today, because if Memphis gets it done, there's a real good chance that the Fiesta Bowl will be in play. And let's talk about, like, how do you think that'll affect the atmosphere? If this game tonight for the Mountain West takes on a new perspective that it might be for a Fiesta Bowl.
Is that like what's on the line right now?
Well,
like
UCF is ranked 8th right now.
Yeah.
They lost their quarterback, terrible injury last week. I mean, bad knee injury.
Okay.
If Memphis beats them, they're going to tumble back. The winner of Boise State Fresno State, they said, could jump into that, the non-Power 5 and a spot possibly in the Fiesta Bowl. So if this game goes, Boise or Fresno's way, as you see, the game tonight could get a lot bigger.
There's some implications.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, I didn't know
$10
that.
million bigger.
Yeah, maybe a new building, a new facility bigger. I mean, that kind of implications.
Right. We might actually get like a law department, like at Boise State.
Or a PhD.
Yeah, right.
PhD program.
I didn't know
maybe?
that. I mean, that's big. Anytime we can go to one of those major bowls, you guys are kind of joking about it, but a lot of truth is said.
No, a lot of people think this is.
No,
I
this
mean,
is
I've heard
legit.
everywhere from this is a pipe dream to they could tumble. I mean, like I said, they lost their quarterback, so a loss here makes them not the conference champion.
I even saw a headline on my newsfeed this morning saying that Boise and Oklahoma could be a potential match in the Fiesta Bowl if everything goes.
Gosh, you guys are like right on the ball.
We
in
won't know.
terms
Well,
of-
tomorrow night's a selection show,
Yes.
Yeah.
so there's a lot of football to be played still, but
Right.
Some exciting
You
things
guys
are
have
still in
kinda,
play.
like, played out all of the different scenarios, possibilities.
Well,
the
we're
implications.
trying to schedule our programming.
That's
which
right.
is dependent
If they get
upon
a
this
game, we
stuff.
get a game, so
Yeah.
it's pretty
True
Exactly.
story,
Yeah.
true story. And get your interviews lined up and see who's coming in next. I mean, we need all of the big bowl games we can possibly get ourselves into, obviously. I just didn't know all the implications going on, so
Yeah,
like, I'm
it's
still
crazy.
processing.
Well, some
Did
people
you
would call.
hear about this guy's knee injury? He
No, is it
someone
bad?
like Justin Brown his knee. For those of you who don't know, Justin Brown is a linebacker for Boise State who had a complete knee dislocation in, what was it, 99 or 2000?
Yeah, I think 2000.
Yeah, I think it was his sophomore year.
That was one of the worst injuries I've seen.
Yes. So he had a similar one.
Mackenzie Milton, that's the young man's
Yes.
name.
Really similar to Justin Brown.
Quarterback, yeah. He had nerve damage. He had all
Yeah,
that.
apparently some
His
surgery.
leg turned
Yeah.
into like a helicopter.
He's a kid from
propeller.
Hawaii. That kid, he plays with Tua. He grew up playing football with Tua
Yeah.
for Alabama.
Helicopter propeller? What?
Yeah, I remember looking at JB on the field when he hurt his knee.
Oh.
And it, like from his knee down, just like spinning around in circles.
Was he trying to walk out off? Or was he trying to walk it off? Or was he like...
No,
or this
Justin
is
Brown.
when it happened?
This is
is
when
like-
it happened, yeah.
Oh, when he got hit, you saw his leg
Yeah, I
flying
seen
around.
it. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
I seen it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it just
okay.
makes you cringe. And so, was the injury really to
Yeah.
that degree?
It
Yeah.
ruined his knee. Yes,
I believe
completely.
there's nerve damage in it.
That's bad.
Like someone
Yeah.
came, like, was it? Did he get hit with a helmet or a
I think
shoulder
it was
pad?
a helmet right in the
directly.
knee.
Yeah.
I can't even look at those, man.
Yeah.
Not even on TV.
There's been a
Or-
couple this year. The Alex
I
Smith
saw.
one.
I saw weeks
Yeah.
after Justin sustained that injury, they were cleaning out because you know how it got real swollen and then like that remove all that muscle tissue from the front of his leg.
Yeah.
So there was like a giant hole cavity with all that. They had to remove all that.
I remember he got
And
like
they were
infected or something.
rechanging and had to like rechange his dressings, and they were doing that in the training room. Now these like 19, 20-year-old trainers in training, basically,
Right.
performing this procedure where they're removing cotton dressings from inside of his leg and putting it back in and closing it back up because his leg was that gnarly, dude. I almost threw up. I was like,
Yeah,
I walked in the
bad.
training room to like get an ice bag, and I seen him doing that, and I walked back out because I was like, I ain't hurt.
Right.
I am not hurt.
Right. Don't want to waste your time.
No, they're busy right now. They were busy at the moment.
Yeah, I remember that. That was pretty bad.
Oh, here in the bar, we're busy. You mean tell me
No.
what's going on?
I was talking about the trainers were busy addressing this guy's.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to your
War
story.
room.
I totally am.
Right.
Sorry, I got caught scoreboard watching there. All right.
The Memphis game is
Pardon
really,
me for
really
being
good.
optimistic about the future.
Right.
Remember, we look back, but we look forward here. We look both ways.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes,
and we
yes,
look
yes.
down every once in a while. You know, live in the moment.
And maybe off into the yonder from time to time too. Just, yeah.
Well,
Little ADD.
Yeah. Well, Billy's here, so you're here every week. I'm going to ask him more questions.
Question.
What's your best memory of playing in here on the blue? What's
The best memory?
yeah? Talk about that.
Does that like keep it PG-13?
No, I'm talking like a one that was in public, actually on the blue. That best memory.
Right. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, that's the late night podcast. Where we do the
We're
after
going to talk
party.
about that later, though,
Yeah.
Billy, for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
No, I
Lights
mean,
turn off.
your favorite game or your bet. I mean, like, just take us through. Like, this was the best game I had here, best feeling. It doesn't have to be your best stat game. I mean, just best win, best. That was a good night.
But my best good night was my senior year playing Rice. Scored 3 touchdowns in the first half, and like I just knew that I was going to come back and score 3 more in the second half because I only had like 3 balls thrown to me. But I ended up getting benched because we had to let the younger players play, and we blew them out, so that was disappointing. But first half was great. So
If you could just take that half.
that's
your
my
best half of
That's my
football.
best half of football. Yeah, actually my best half of football from as long as I can remember playing tackle.
What about your best play
All
that
right.
you can remember?
The best play?
You know that one that they gave in grading where like Billy did everything and beyond?
I think the one that I hear about most, which should be the best, because this is what stuck in the fans' head, is the Fresno State game where I caught the post on the backside. I get hit by one guy, bounce off him.
Yeah.
He grabs a jersey, and like jersey's supposed to be tear-proof. And I ended up like high kneeing out of that. He tears my jersey right off me, and then I keep going. Like that.
not the seam of the jersey, like the fabric
The
of
fabric of the jersey, yeah. Like
That
it went
was-
from a whole jersey to like a half shirt.
And it was designed to the exact specifications of premier athletes, according to Nike, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Correct, yeah, okay.
Right. So it was like, yeah, superhuman.
So you
Yeah,
were out of
superhuman.
spec, basically, is what I'm saying.
I don't know that they could, like, at that time, make a specification.
They weren't
that could box
predicting.
me into it. Like,
So you changed the course of Nike's apparel.
yeah, they had to go back to the drawing board, get their
R&D.
engineers together, talk
Yeah.
about different fabric. They
I
might have
hear
had
you.
to go to like.
Well, that's a
was it-
legacy right there.
Right. So I would say that was it. Like, I don't know if the fans understand that our jerseys are created a certain way, but I do know that it was epic enough for them to understand at that moment what was going on, and it obviously had an impact.
Well, I'm going to agree with the fans on this one. That's my favorite play that you had too, Billy.
I know.
Really?
I've heard that before. Not from you, Billy. So
Stuck out?
yeah,
Mhm.
it's.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna ask you a real weak question, but it's funny to me. How many catches you have on that Rice game? Do you remember?
It's messed up, man. I didn't even get to study for this test.
I know. I'll give you. You were right about the 3 touchdowns, so we're gonna give you credit.
Okay,
All right?
I got that right. I don't think I need to carry the 1 on this question. I'm gonna
Yards?
say 4 catches.
8.
Had 8?
8 catches. That's a season high. 8 catches, 137, averaging 17.1, 3 touchdowns,
You know what?
and a return for 27 yards. Just throw that in there for you.
It's just like a receiver, right? To say that I caught 3 touchdowns, but only probably had 4 catches. They could have got
That's
hit.
true.
Right.
Probably should have caught 8 if you know.
I do
Right.
understand that because I also have 1 reception, and I'm like, yeah, I know it says -2 yards, but I don't think they gave me forward progress. So I feel you on that for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, always open type of concept.
Yeah.
I had 8 catches that game?
8 catches. I'm just checking the other Yeah, from 2001, 2002. That was your highest catch game.
All right, I'll take that back then. Sorry for the coaches. Quarterback played with me on that game.
Maybe they just felt you had done enough and you deserved a break.
Right.
Right. Like, thank you, Ben.
Yeah,
Like
I didn't respect that. Like, I came at it
I mean,
a different angle.
it wasn't the last game of the year, it looks like. It looks like
No, it wasn't.
they had some miles to go. They were going to save those miles.
Preservation.
Actually, next week, 5 for 119 and a touchdown. So, yeah, see, they saved you.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I'll accept that.
Billy just had an epic senior season in general. I'd say.
Oh, no, this is quite impressive right here. 62 receptions, over 1,000 yards, over 1,100 yards.
Do you know I was like the first person to break a 20-year record, like the most prolific receiver in a season?
Attaboy.
Oh,
That's actually what I saw when I came on my freshman trip. I looked at the record books and was like trying to see, who am I going to come in here and like basically outdo? Like, who's legendary around this camp? And there's a guy named Don Hutt, and he had the record since 1980 or 81. I think it was like in the 1AA championship days. So I had my eye on that my whole time at Boise State.
And then you got it.
Yeah, and then after that, everyone just kind of, just caught the vibe and rode the wave. I think the next year Tim Gilligan broke it, and the next year someone else broke it.
Well, we're laying all this praise upon you. Also, throughout 2002, receiving yards per reception, the WAC leader at 18.4.
Really?
Senior year. So, yeah, that's a number one next to that in the WAC.
Okay. So, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go.
Man, I got to go start looking back in the archives.
It's fun.
It is, right? Sometimes.
Well, if you're in there, I'm not in there. It's not fun for me. But if I was in there, I'd be pretty excited.
Right?
I mean, I'm excited for you looking at these. I can't imagine if it said my name on there.
Right. Thanks, man. Like, yeah, that's news to me right there. There's a lot of good things out there. I would say, you know what? My senior year, the difference was, and you guys interviewed RD a little earlier, right?
Yes.
RD, Ryan Dinwiddie. My senior year, Ryan and I were dialed in. Off season.
Yeah, where does that start? Does that start in spring ball? Where does that kind of connection? And
I don't think it ever turned off.
It just, you walked out on a field together and it was like, I know where he's going and he knows where I'm going.
We just hung out like almost every day, and you sit there, you talk for like 30, 45 minutes about nothing, and then it's like something comes up to where it's either like you can't throw that pass, that's why you never hit me on it. And then he'll say something back to the effect of, I'll bounce it off your head. And then we're in the parking lot, like, let's just walk through it then. And it's like, well, let's just go put our stuff on and go hit the field so that we can, like, scale it up to, like, game time action, and what it looks like on the field. Let's see if you can actually throw this backside post.
Well, this kind of goes back to what you were talking about before with the kids you're working with, like the work you put in off the field, the off the field relationships. I mean, that shows up in games.
Exactly. I think the kids that we've been working with the last 2 years, we've been doing this now about 5 years, but the last 2 years, they're starting to see it translate right to the field, and it's just you get that little twinkle in your eye. It's like the proud dad who sees his son who finally made it. And you kind of look at all of them as sort of your beloved sons. So to see them buy in 1,000% because they now know, like, as a matter of fact, everything that we do translates to the field, and there is real value, right? This isn't just, it's just the real deal.
Yeah, we're not out here just doing this.
Right.
To run you around or to teach you. I mean, to make you do work.
This is the stuff that
there's an ends to a means here. Yeah,
there is an ends to a means, and everything we're doing has purpose. And to see them actually recognize that and it become their reality is like that moment. Like the parents already know. Like dads can come out there and see it. Like, yeah, my son's getting better. I can tell. But for the kid to go out there and go from, a 3 athlete to a 7 athlete, and all he did was take the time and dedicate himself in the off season, work on his craft, build in the areas of strength, and just kind of address some of the areas of weakness that he can improve. And to see it like translate to the field is like, man, there's no feeling like it.
So can you take me through what one of your athletes would go through? Like, is it a once a week type of process, or is it multiple days a week, or is it depending on how much you want to invest in it, or what's the program like? Could
All
you run
of
me
it.
through it?
All of it.
All
So
that?
we've got some base practices that we do. It's probably like twice a week. Then there's some one-on-one sessions that take place where if you just want someone to hone in on you specifically, we've got that available to athletes. And then there's that component where we all come together and do kind of the 7-on-7 piece, where it's putting all these little individual development processes together to basically form like Voltron and execute as one.
And is this
so all of it's available, the individual, the regular group workouts, and then the 7-on-7 competition. So we're going around getting the local kids. I mean, there's some in Canyon County working out. I'll go drive out there on a Thursday and pull up on their little workout and invite them to come see us on Sunday so that we can get after it and they get an opportunity to see whether or not what they're doing over in Canyon County is going to translate when they come over Sunday to see us. And the idea is to let them know that, we're here. And I know you guys are doing that out there, but come over and test out some of those different elements and things you're working on and see if you can put it into play.
Do you have a good relationship with the high school coaches in the Valley as well yet?
Man, I'm working on that, man.
Okay.
So I'm on a committee for Meridian PAL, and it's a flag, sort of recreational, like little setup over there that we run. And in that, you have on the committee different coaches that are coaching in the high schools.
Okay.
Sorry, let me put my face next to the mic.
Oh, you're good.
So yeah, there is an element of that connection being made, but definitely not enough, and to the extent I would like to see it, because to be honest, there is this thing with there's a stigma, right, that the high school coach is kind of attached to the 7-on-7. So that's not real football. It's not this. It's not that. You need to just lift weights and this and this.
Really?
And that. Yeah. And it's more education.
My coaches were taking the skill positions to 7-on tournaments all summer long and like pushing that on the kids.
But that's because you grow up in California and it's a different experience.
Oh, they're not there. They're not even there yet.
That's why we're doing this, is to say, hey, this isn't the antonym, or this isn't like anything controversial in terms of us trying to take your athletes. This is more so we should be working together, actually. Like,
to supplement their
yeah,
off-season.
like I would like to understand what their offensive schemes are.
Yeah.
Right. So as I see their players, right.
People don't like giving those out, right? Offensive schemes.
No.
Well, you see how much spread offense is in college and the NFL now. I mean, 7-on-7's invaluable. I mean, the pre-snap. I mean, it's amazing how many people are in motion, and that's all 7-on-7 as far as I can see, right? I mean, it's not.
There's no experience like practical application, right?
Exactly.
And that's kind of the concept, is just say, hey, coach, like, let's talk about this a little bit. Like, let's hear your side of it, and let's talk about what we're doing. Let's talk about what you'd like to see your athlete doing if they choose to come out, right? Let's form a relationship and understand that the gap between what you're seeing out of these areas where it's like high density, coaches are going to recruit, there's a couple key areas like the bigger cities, the Floridas, the Californias. I mean, coaches are going there with their fishing poles and pulling athletes out. What are they doing? Like, you got to ask yourself that, right? What are they doing?
Yeah, they don't have more athletes per thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
come on, right?
there's something in the way they're training. Yeah.
Your kids eat 3 times a day, and they do the same things, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of us being deliberate about what strategy we're going to put into place if your kid is going to want to participate. I don't think that it makes a lot of sense to participate if you're not really in this to try to better yourself and kind of achieve an outcome, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, get the most out of any experience you can.
So just to get it out there on the waves again, what's the name of the 2 entities that you are running? One of them is called Extreme, or
so one's Evolution.
Evolution. There you go.
That's sort of the private side, high competition.
That's the team.
Travel team. Yeah,
That's
we're
the
going to go
squad.
compete in the Northwest. Got to make the team. And then the all-inclusive, and let's figure out the academic side and support that and connect those dots, is Idaho Rising Stars.
Idaho Rising Stars and Evolution.
And Evolution, yeah.
And this is you and one other, or is there a group, or what's the group that you're working with to get this done?
Man.
Because I know there's one other former player that you're working closely with on these things.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So TJ Acre. He's got a son that's in junior high, and so he's been working the junior high squad, which is like 8th and 9th grade. We took them to travel. That's the Portland experience we were talking about. We took a high school team, which was 11th and 12th graders. And we're also in partnership with a few other guys in town that are also kind of taking the same approach and bringing 7-on-17. So we're just basically trying to take a movement of Idaho to these competitions to like get the respect level up. I mean, we're going to be out here.
Yeah, I know that there's several former teammates of ours that have played or that are coaching locally here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's one thing that I would love to do is get you. I'm sure you're already in touch with them. Maybe.
I know who they are, and we talk.
But we're trying to like network and get this thing like.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get them on here and grill them.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we're
Ask
kidding.
them. No, yeah, you need to. Again, why aren't you talking to Billy Wingfield? Like,
yeah, why aren't you
came
doing
up here
this?
and
Why aren't
said
you doing
he'd
that?
be interested in some dialogue and connecting and understanding your scheme, and don't be scared to show me your scheme. Let me see your scheme, man. What you got going, man? You copying what you just seen in college football last year? You got a real scheme and a concept. Let's talk about this. But the idea is this, right? In different districts, right? You got the feeder schools. So you got the elementaries that then feed up to the 3 junior highs that feed up to the 1 high school. It would make a lot of sense if at some point in time in the future we can coordinate to a point where the junior high is doing a rudimentary type of concept on offense and defense that supports what's going to be happening when they go to high school, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on in California for decades.
That's all we're trying to do, man, is let's make it make sense. Let's make it
So
make
you're in a
sense.
system instead of 2 years in a system, you're 5, 6,
Yeah.
7. Like, hey,
Exactly.
we've seen these and we build on these concepts.
Right. You want to know the terminology. You want your kids to come in. I mean, football is this. If you have, and this is Boise State, by the way, preparation. We knew when we got on the field what we were going to do to the offense if you're on D. You knew on offense what you were going to do to the defense. I mean, we were so prepared that it was laughable, right? We would go in motion, and it'd be the same thing we did all week at practice.
The defense would react as they were scripted to react from the scout team, right?
We're dictating.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
We are dictating what you're doing, and we do it so well in our preparation. We're not even thinking. It's laughable, right?
Yeah.
You're already thinking in your head when you come out and you see that guy follow you in motion, strike up the band. And the only one who thinks it's a game is the guys on the other side of the ball. Like, they actually think they're playing football, but we're not. Like,
We've
this
already
is cheating.
lost.
Yeah, you're done, right?
Our coach is smarter than, way smarter than yours. Way smarter than yours.
No one actually knew that in that moment. So,
and that's something that BSU I think has gotten away from, is all that shift in motion in the last few years. I mean it's still there. Shifts and motions will be in football forever.
Yeah.
But the way that it was implemented in that era of in the Peterson era of Boise State football was, I've never seen anything like it. And I know John was
high IQ football. Yeah.
John was talking about how it's making its way to the NFL in spurts.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, I mean, you look at they run these motions. It looks like early 2000 Boise State football, but in the NFL. So
I remember when they used to be like, what are they doing? Like, why are they doing that?
We're doing that so we can see what you're doing and make sure we understand what you're trying to do before we do what we're about to do.
But we would get so much flack on it from announcers. We were playing on TV, whenever we on TV, all the shifting motions in Boise State, it's all trickery. They can't line up and play. They got to do this and that. You know, it was kind of like one of the nicks that the shots that people would take at us.
They're known for their trick plays.
Exactly, trick plays, man.
Hey, call it what you want, man.
Well, that's not
all I really cared about was
the W's.
The W's,
right?
they were good.
I mean, you guys will get it after a while. Right?
The win-loss column was good to us.
And you notice other people started to adopt it. I think now, though, in football, it's a little bit more watered down. Right? I don't know that the players in this day and age would have the same football IQ that we were like mandated to have back then, right?
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of plays coming from the sideline where it's just like 2 pitchers.
2 pitchers?
Yeah, like you see these teams, like they line up, and then the quarterback will clap, and then everybody will pause. It's like check with me type of offense. Like, go line up in this, act like you're gonna hike it. If they don't move, check with me.
Well, the kids have shorter attention spans now. I blame it on the tablets, so maybe that's what it is.
You know what? That's a
We
real
can
thing.
we only get memorize 2 pictures. Sorry.
John said that.
I don't know.
John said that.
Come
I
after me.
love
Yeah.
the
That's why he's
youth
here.
and the new athletes.
That's why he's here.
And they're
All right, well, we're getting almost to the time when we're going to get kicked out of here. So
Yeah,
we got
we're-
about 10 minutes
this
left
is-
here. So I'd like
okay.
to.
Do I get to ask questions too?
Oh yeah, do what you want.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
You're here- that's what
Really?
you're
So,
here for.
like, what's the future of the program? Like, not the program Boise State, but the program as far as what we're doing right now. Like,
Yeah,
Well,
take that one.
we are we're up and running right now, which
That's
is
a
great.
feat in itself.
Yes.
okay,
And now we are just trying to establish these relationships to get guests on to call out the future of who's next and who everybody wants to see and try to grow it organically that way.
Yep.
But
Ooh, that's
as
good.
far as the future of where this show will be hosted and where it will be posted, Suds Tavern Facebook page will be the original home.
okay,
Suds management is currently working on getting their website locked down and cleaned up so we can post it directly to there.
yeah.
And then
Go ahead, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'll jump in when I need
Oh,
to.
no,
No,
I
go ahead,
think,
jump in there, John.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
let's
no,
hear it, yeah.
we also, I think we kind of decided we're going to try to do a show for the bowl game and then try to almost be down here weekly
Okay.
taping a show. I mean, I don't know where it's going to go in the off season. There's not going to be as much information available and things coming
Sure.
out, but we're going to talk about all Boise State sports. So, we'll review how basketball is doing, the whole family, how, you support each other's sports. I remember when I first got here, the football team would show up at the basketball games, that kind of atmosphere. Teams.
Oh, yeah. That's
so,
right.
we're going to get better. We're going to get 1% better every week. So
Okay.
we do this in the off season every week. We talk about spring ball. We'll talk about signing day, things like that. And
Yeah.
then, our plan is to come in next year hot. We're
Okay,
going to
that's
live
awesome.
video and hype it
Yeah.
up and, put the pressure on us. So,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that's the plan.
I like that, guy. That's good. That's good. I thought I should ask that.
yeah,
thank you. We
I don't think
appreciate
anybody
No one cares about us.
No one's heard that yet. No one really knows what we're doing yet, so it's good to get that out there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Because I want to share it as well, by the way.
Exactly.
we appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah.
Well, this is the part usually when we wrap up. We talk about the things that we're allowed to talk about now that you couldn't talk about when you were playing, like the spread and who do you think? Well, who's
Yeah.
going to win? But spoiler alert, I already know how that's going to go most
is
of
the
the time.
spread?
in this game. It was 2.5 the last time I checked.
Really?
Yeah, Fresno State was actually favored earlier in the year when they were here. It broke like a
11 year.
17. No, it was like 2000,
Oh, wow.
2001. Yeah,
Yeah.
where they had been favored on the blue the first time, and so they
Maybe Washington State, I remember, might have been. They're the last. They were like the last
Yeah, I
one
can't
to
believe-
beat us on the blue before
Yeah.
the last team. To
Well, I
beat
can't
us on
believe
the blue.
Oregon came in here and was not favored.
Yeah, that's-
5, 6, the famous incident, on the turf, the famous punch incident game.
Yeah, straight right cross.
Yeah, that's
Remember
right.
that, yeah.
But yeah, they were favored over Oregon in that game. I mean, you think about that.
It's big, I know. We've actually had, I got a good buddy of mine that played over at University of Oregon, and I often tease him, right, about the fact that, he went Pac-12, Pac-10 at the time, but when you guys finally came to see us, all the conversations we had turned into the reality, which resulted in you guys might have never been as good as you thought you were.
He's got fancy uniforms, bro. Hey, what?
Yeah, it looks good.
We
What?
got marble showers, marble showers.
Right.
So
Granite
what teammates?
countertops.
It looks
So
good.
are we
I've been
gonna
in the
drop
locker room,
names?
too.
Are we gonna drop names? You're talking about Did Cream Kelly go to Oregon?
Cream Kelly went to USC.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right,
Sammy
that's right.
Parker went to Oregon. That's what I was talking about.
And
Good
Herman
buddy.
Ho Ching, right?
Herman Hoching went
Yeah.
over there too. Yep.
Cool,
Women's
cool.
volley. Yep.
Yeah, ballers. Billy went to like the most baller in his high school, and the 4 fastest dudes in the state on their offense, and the 2nd fastest, 4 fastest dudes on their defense. It was insane.
It was insane. 10 200 meters at the state meet.
Yeah, you guys.
Crazy times. 20 point whatever in the 200 meter. It's just
Records.
highest levels of competition.
The fastest people that are in the fastest region of the country, basically.
Pretty much.
If you ask me.
Pretty much.
Very impressive. My high school, we tried to compete with you guys, but we'd lose to the likes of you and Mater Dei every year in the semis. We never got past you guys in the finals.
You guys were a formidable opponent, though.
Yeah, they won it like a year before I got there. They beat Loyola, I think,
Did
in
you guys play each other in high school?
96. No, we missed each other.
Right.
But
by
your
like a
schools
year.
played?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. But just
I
not-
played his high school in my senior year. We got smashed.
So lost out, right?
No, we lost to you guys. I went to Bishop Amant.
Bishop Amant.
Yeah,
There you go.
that's right.
Yeah. So I played my football at Carson High. I think we played Bishop.
We
Amant.
did play.
Yeah.
We played Carson my sophomore year.
I was
we
gonna say that
traveled.
my 10th grade year. Yeah.
We traveled there.
You guys were huge.
Man, you guys, did we win? I don't know what the
You
score
guys
that
beat
is.
us. You guys beat us. Bishop Amant beat us.
I remember that was like Carson and La Puente have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, hey, man. I just remember how big the guys in your team was.
Really?
Yeah, you guys are just a big team. At least the offensive line, I think.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
You guys
that
are
year
big,
we
yeah.
had. Oh yeah, Brian
we had
Pollack.
Samoans on our team. We had the Polynesian movement on our side, so it wasn't,
Well, there was a UCLA offensive lineman named Brian Pollack on that offensive line. I know
sounds
that much.
familiar.
He
Pollack.
was a big dude.
Yeah.
He was a massive human being.
Yeah, you guys had a nice.
Smashing people. Alex Gutierrez, I think, was also another tackle. Yeah. See, that was the thing, is when you have that competition in your high school level, it's like you get to I got to college and I was just like that much farther ahead of everybody.
Oh, yeah, like people don't understand that. Like you come
Exactly.
from like that type of environment where the competition is
Like
just-
when you're at practice and you hear the air horn or the buzzer go off. Like I heard that for 4 years in high school, and I knew about that.
What
system.
that was?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people got here, they're like, "What's up with the horn and the numbers?" And like, "Oh, that's how coaches keep time in practice, man. Come on, get with the program. Quit messing around.
Right.
Like we got more important stuff to worry about, dude. Let's get after it."
All right, I'd love to, keep rowing this boat down memory lane here with you guys, but they're going to kick us out.
I
of here.
know, we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
These
So
people
we're-
are looking at our seats.
Yeah, people
Like,
are kind of
right.
at our seats in here. So,
There's a little prompting
Billy,
going
before
on
we
right
go,
now.
just a little refresher. It's now down at -1, so apparently there's some people down there in Las Vegas that think this
Putting the
game's
money
going to be
down.
pretty
Huh?
tight.
I put my money on Boise State.
Who's
There you
next,
go.
Billy?
So,
The question of all questions. Who do you want to see?
Before we get there, let's get his prediction on the game tonight.
Oh, okay.
I think we win by 5 points.
Give me the final score.
Game-winning drive. I'm gonna say 35-30.
Ooh, 35-30, going high.
35-30.
All right.
Is that a repeat of that? I think we did have a 35-30 game in here. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
I see.
2001.
Yeah, I see.
Fresno State, Boise State.
I see what
That
you
was a
did there.
subliminal. That was a subliminal. Yeah, I'm glad you picked up
I
on that.
see
I'm
what
glad
you
you picked
did
up on
there.
that. Never could just be a straight
Anybody get
answer.
the over under? You know what the
It's
over?
52.5, so we know
He's
where
right
he's
Right
in there.
around in there.
No,
Yes.
he's
No,
got
he's
the
going
over.
with the over.
I'm
So,
going with over. I'm going with over. I
what
think we're gonna
about
be
what about
scoring.
you, Jason? What's your prediction?
I'm gonna go. We're gonna. What do I need to score 2? Okay, I'm
I
gonna
don't
go
know.
with.
Take it out.
I'm gonna go with 17-28 Boise State. That's what I think is gonna happen.
28. Wow.
Okay.
Well, I usually pick Boise State to win but not cover, but at -1, I might have to go off script here and say like they're going to win this one outright.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Win and
All right.
cover.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
All right,
I put some money down.
There you go.
we're going to track these stats and a board. So far, I'm 2-0. John's 0-2. Just so everybody knows that out there.
Yeah, but we don't have that on a board, so unfortunately we didn't write the first 2 down.
Okay,
All right,
and
we
Bill,
always end
final
with a
question. Final question.
Go.
Who's
Okay.
next, Billy? Who do you want to see on the show?
Man, I'm looking at Rob Vine. That's like a really
Strong.
Yeah, man, that's very, very strong.
Yeah.
After I seen that, I went blank.
Oh man.
Rob Vine would be a great guest to have on here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely. Man, you shouldn't have showed me that. You shouldn't have
Well,
showed me.
I would have told you after you said Rob Vine, because obviously.
So who you going with? Give 3 names. 3 names.
3 names? Man, I would want to take it back to the guys we saw coming in. So there's, let's see, who's in town? That'd be easy to get to. Is it BJ?
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson? Yeah, he'd be good. Brian
Mhm.
Johnson's
A
good.
legend.
Yeah, he was just a killer,
And
right?
you guys are all everyone's legends.
Right? let's see, guys in town, and I'll take it back to our generation. So you got a Rob Bryant. I mean, does that have to be a local guy or just someone you can get to?
You can say Rob Bryant.
Yeah, we're implementing the phone feature soon, so we might have call-in guests soon.
Yeah, we're looking to get the call-in.
Stepping into the millennium, right. Conference call, it's a thing. All right.
Yes, yep.
Here I go again. Billy's dating himself.
Party line? You didn't say party line.
Let me see, who's in town that could be like a good energy, or not even in town? 2 more? I would say, you already got Ryan Dinwiddie. I'd say that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Knock that one right out of the box here.
I know.
Thank you, Ross. Ross Kelly hooked that one up.
Right.
Ross Kelly hooked this whole situation up. So I want to take a moment to thank Ross. Sorry, Billy, for interrupting. Back to you.
Well, all right. The third person is going to be... go blank. I'm gonna say Dryzen James.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Dryzen James.
High profile.
Yeah, I thought of him because he was on the radio the other day, and while he was on there, I was driving to work. And of course, I called in with my mysterious voice.
Ken Kniff called in the ticket.
I really like
Did they catch on to you or no?
Yeah, Dryzen caught on to me. Like, what's up, Billy? Yeah, what are you doing, man?
Oh, that's funny.
All right. Is there anything else we got to do here before we wrap up?
Well, just pack all this stuff up and get out of here.
Well, Billy, thank you for coming down here. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. We
As
really
always,
appreciate
it's a pleasure to speak to you.
I like what you guys are doing. Appreciate the movement.
And you're welcome here anytime. You know that.
Thank you, man.
Anytime.
Thanks for having me.
We can have you like a regular spot if you need.
If you want to pop on anytime during the season, you're welcome.
Local.
More than welcome.
Okay.
You just say the word.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. You guys keep the movement going. I like the wave you guys are on. Don't let the momentum get crushed.
No way, man.
Ride it.
It's
Ride
all.
the wave.
They keep throwing obstacles at us, and we just keep jumping over them, Bill.
Yeah, man.
Or
Know how to
plowing
face
through
that
them, or
adversity,
just
right?
smashing right
Pounding
through them.
the
Whatever.
rock.
Yeah, you know how it goes. All right,
thanks for having me,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks, Bill.
And go Memphis.
All right,
Please.
we're gonna wrap this up. Thanks, everybody.
Go Broncos, baby.
Signing off. I don't think they gave me forward progress.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to your story. I totally am.
Sexy man. Sexy man. Sexy man.
Break a 20-year record, like.
I don't think they gave me forward progress.
Break a 20-year record, like.
This is the Bronco Alumni Show on the Sud Sports Network.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to your story. I totally am.